Operation, about organization, discipline, motivation, and just traveling all over the country. The one thing he always has done, he kind of remembered his roots. He always liked to come back and talk to high school coaches. And so he's been very kind to us. And he'll tell you, well, since we don't pay him, and since we do this and that, and that's about right. We don't even tell him when he's on the program, but he always shows up. But he's a great friend, and if you listen carefully, I think you'll find a real message that will help you as a high school coach become a better coach. Tony, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I like fish. I'll go to Japan. Shit. Did you eat raw fish last night?
No.
I'd be good over there. Yeah, I did my airborne training in Japan. Little shits run around. It was fun. There was Japan. Food's different. Food. How much you at breakfast? $32 for breakfast? About $33.50 last time. They went down. I'd like to go to a clinic there. In fact, I had one in Japan. My speech today, gentlemen, is based on something, going through the country. I do consulting for 4 pro teams and 3 college teams, and just coaching coaches. And not because I know more, it's just that I don't give a shit what I say, so I tell them what I think. And sometimes you need that, and right or wrong. And, also going around to high schools, I enjoy going to high school practices and when I'm in the area, and I've noticed something that I'd like to talk about somewhat that is being neglected. When you set up a practice plan, everybody does the same thing. And if some of you are doing what I'm about to say, then great. Every practice plan, you have offense, defense, and special teams. Well, most of them, you do that each practice, 1, 2, 3. But you've added since then, I'll be honest, offense, defense, special teams, goal line. Now you're in the realm. If every day you do a little of that, or a third of the 3 and a little of the goal line, you're going to stay tough, you're going to do the things right, and you're not going to forget your organization. However, I think the biggest mistake is there's not a 5th category. And some schools do it. I won't mention which ones they are, but there are some that do it, and we've talked about it, and I hope that I was the reason they did it. It's offense, defense, it's special teams, goal line, morale. How many times do you have a meeting on morale? Do you sit down and say, okay, today we're going to talk about morale. We're going to talk about what we can do to make people perform better in every area, whether it be staff, administration, offense and defense, kicking game. If they aren't doing it with enthusiasm, they're not doing it. So I would think that the biggest thing in high school, college, and pro football that is not organized in detail, that should be and is as important as, is morale or psychology. Because that's the difference in winning. All things being equal, don't tell me you know more offense than the guy sitting next to you. That's bullshit. Your offense depends upon how good you are, what kind of material you have. You give me Otis, I'll run the ball inside. Shit. You give me little Willie, the guy from Japan, I got to go wide. Right? Or throw the son of a bitch. Here we'll go. Because it's a different attitude. So if you have material, you may not need it. But I'm talking about equality. If you're better than your opponent, you should win. If you don't, you should be fired. If you're equal to your opponent, you should win. If your opponent is just a little better than you, you should win most of the time. If they're better than you, you're going to get your ass kicked. Don't tell me you're going to outcoach him. Who are you kidding? Nobody outcoached. You mean you think you know more than him, or he knows more than you, or you know more than him? That's not true. It's what you learn and how you impart it. How do you teach it? What enthusiasm level do you go to? How do your kids respond? How much do you teach? What is the method you use? Do they do it properly? Do they do it with great emphasis? Did they do it with power? If they don't, then you don't win. Fortunately, if you went undefeated, you had great people. If you went undefeated this year and you had a great year, shake hands with everybody, because your ass will get it. What goes around, baby? Don't think it was you. It was your team. And if you got your ass kicked, shake hands. Because you know how you are. As soon as you get your ass kicked, everybody says, hell of a coach. Nice guy. He lost 12, but good guy. Right? You ever hear anybody say, so-and-so won 12, good guy? If you won 12, shit, ain't play anybody. We should have beat him. We had him down in the first quarter, it was 12-0 us. What was the score? 27-12 at the half, 52-12 at the end of the game. But we were up there for a while. If you're a winner, you're not going to get any praise. If you're a loser, everybody thinks you're a good guy. What you want to do is be consistent. Now are you consistent? Learn and teach yourself that morale is part of the game that is neglected. The area of coaching that no one works on. You will hear in the next 3 days some outstanding speakers. They will know football in and out. They will teach you nothing that you don't know, but they will remind you of things that you haven't thought of. Because how do you run off tackle? You block 1, 2, double 3, and kick on 4. You've done that for 52 years. If you do it any other way, call me. How the hell can you do it? If you're going to go over there, you got to block everybody over there. Why did some people run over there better? Well, they got a guy like Otis running it. Or they got a guy, some hog blocking it. Why doesn't everybody run the green base sweep? Shit, you got the films, breakdowns, plays, and numbers. Why could Lombardi run that son of a bitch for yardage every time and everybody in the world try it and never gain an inch? He ran it with enthusiasm. He believed it, they blocked it, they did it well. They had no secrets. There's nothing new. The thing we don't use in coaching is logic. Think of it, we don't sit around like this enough with your staff, like this. What can we do? We got to get this done. We're not getting the response. Instead of saying, God damn it, we'll kick his ass. He not working. What'll I get through with his ass? We're going to get after him. That kid didn't give a shit. He doesn't like you. But if you make them want to, you have a better chance of teaching. You have a better chance if you talk about what approach you should take, because each squad is different. Each approach is different. Each method of insertion of stimulus is different. Each psychological response is different. But it's perfectional. Enthusiasm must be fed. You have to act alarmed. Enthusiasm is something that is developed. There's a proper way to insert motivation and enthusiasm. Never say, you know what we're going to do this year? I'm going to meet with my seniors, one at a time. Now, what are we talking about here? I'm going to bring them in and say, what we're going to do this year is, you don't motivate by talking people one-on-one. You're going in reverse. When you want to insert a new program, new offense, new theory, new rules, you do it in group, like this. Because in a group, you lose your basic individual characteristics. You lose your basic habits. You become a collective mind. So everything I say grows through reciprocity. Everything I say grows in number. If I do it properly. If I suggest to you that this play is going to work, and I say suggest to this group, and then I say it and I exaggerate it, this play will work, and then I repeat it. Walk it, talk it, chalk it. Walk it, talk it, chalk it. Now I have a chance for the play to work, because if somebody doesn't believe in the play, he's not going to question me. But nobody in the room said, I don't think you should walk it, talk it, chalk it. They just nod. What the hell, right? It's a group. You wanted to put in a tough training rule? Do it in a group. And if somebody goes, the other ones go, they don't even like the son of a bitch, but Hitler got away. Remember Hitler, that shit? Sieg Heil! 100,000 people. Did he see the 20 going like this? No, everybody said they're all with him. There's a group in that group said, piss on you, baby. Right? Now as I speak like this, I get a kick out of it, because I have a lot of people who sit and listen and go, I'd love to play your ass for a living. Remember, I don't care if you like it or not, because I'm not running for office and I don't need your vote. I don't need your players either. So if a guy thinks, fine, you don't have to take it. But when other people listen and apply it, you'll get yours. Not what I'm doing, but you'll get it. Don't make fun of the little guy. Don't make fun of an idea. Think about it, especially the morale and psychological factor of coaching football or any other sport. It's the proper insertion of the stimuli. It is not how you talk as much as the methods you use in talking. You talk in exaggerated form. You repeat. You talk loudly. You move. You keep it condensed. You don't talk to individuals only. And you say it over and over and over again. And as soon as you think they knew it, repeat it again. Think of the guy, you remember you guys will, two things you do. You'll go to a game and you'll have your offensive plan in your hand, right? About 87 plays, 52 passes, 14 goal lines, 2 sneaks, kill a clock, give a safety, all that bullshit, right? It's all right. And you'll run 6. 6. But you will have tried to practice that sheet. You know why you do it? So you feel relaxed. So you say, what if they do this? Well, we'll do this. That's not the point. The point is, how well do you do what you do? Don't worry about their defense. If they add a new defense, do you give a shit? Do you understand? If I got an offense and we stay awake at night saying, what if they come out and unbalanced and they squeeze the backside? If they mean they just put it in, yeah, who gives a shit? They don't know false, they don't know influence, they don't know blocking scheme, they don't know block down, they don't know the rule. They're trying to teach it in 1 week. Can you put something in 1 week? How about the new play you put in against so-and-so? And you practiced on Monday, and you fumbled, and they made a mistake, and you didn't do it well, and you got mad. And Tuesday they did it again. Got a little better. And then Tuesday evening, it was pretty good. But you didn't use it Wednesday. You didn't use it Thursday. And Friday in practice, running through the plays, you ran it. The first time you ran it, you fumbled. God damn. Never run that play again. Right? Same thing you do with the count. How about today? We got beaten a count. We're going to change the count from now on. We're going on the second and third snap. All week. I'm jumping off. It's jump, that jump. Finally on Wednesday, God damn, they did it. Ha-two! 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 Go! Oh, shit. That other team doesn't give a shit. But what if you do it in the game? Your quarterback waits till he gets on the goal line to try it, right? You went all the way up. Boom, first down. 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 3rd and 2 to score. On 3. That offense is geared. The tackles are ready. That fullback can't wait. Just give me the goddamn ball. Hut 1! That side leaves. Hut 2! That side leaves. Hut 3! The fullback says, shit. Right? So now it's 3rd and 8. And what do you say? Don't ever call that again. You practiced it all week. Why? The psychological impact, the method of teaching, the opportunity wasn't there. The things you do best is what you do all year. Your best play is the same play you've been running for 10 years. Don't laugh at it. The reason it's the best play is you believe in it, you know it, it works, and that's all there is to it. It's nothing else. Football's not complicated. You know what's complicated? If they use 12, you use 11. That's complicated. But as long as you use 11 and I use 11, what? They put 1 out, I put 1 out. They put 2 out, I'll put 2 out. They overshift, I run here. They run inside, I run here. They got 8 up, I'll throw. They got the dime, I'll run. Is that hard? But you make it think it is. It's simple checkers. The important part of football is making people do it. Making you want to do it. Then using logic in teaching. Your greatest asset is the fact that most of you are teachers. You heard about a lesson plan long before you heard about a game plan. You learned to teach people. If our students and our teachers in this country would teach like you coach, we wouldn't have that illiterate group. Because if their kid doesn't he flunked English. teacher. What happened? He's stupid. He fumbled. Coach, it's your fault. My fault. I'm the coach. He fumbled. My fault. So I got to correct it. But he's an idiot if he doesn't get English. I don't make him get English, but I have to make you not fumble. A different in teaching techniques. You've got to teach it. You've got to teach it in correct form. You've got to exaggerate. You've got to insert the stimulant. You've got to make sure that you know that psychology is everything around you. And if you do it that way, you have an opportunity. Never lose logic. Never. Think about it when you have a staff meeting. How many, you guys, are you now deciding now whether your cornermen should be three out, 4 deep, or 2 out, 3 deep, or 3 out, 3 deep? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, are you arguing about left foot back, right foot back? Crouch, tilt. Come up with the left foot. Who gives a shit? If I'm covering you and I run a 5-1 and you run a 4-3, there's no rule. Come on now, you little shit. Now, if he runs a 5-1 and I run a 4-3, beat me deep, asshole. What's that have to do with 3 out and 4 back? You guys don't have the luxury of choosing a 4-3, 4-4, 4-5, 4-6. You start around at 4-8, 4-9, 5-1, 7-3. You have no opportunity to do that. And you'll spend hours on that bullshit. 3, 4. How deep, how fast is he? How fast am I? Do I grab his ass? Do I let him alone? That's how it's coached. That's logic. That's logic. Now, if I fire the kid up and I get the best I can out of him, that's all I can ask. But if we ask him to do this, and he's a burner, shit, he'll break his ankles twisting. Safety! But we do it. But we do it. And then you know how many times, you offensive line coaches, how many offensive line coaches in here? I could tell you. You guys are all a little different. I'm an offensive line coach, use a lot of head blocking. You know, that I know how that. You secondary coach? I could tell. You ought to take care of that twitch. You married? Does your wife hear you at night go, he's wide open? It's that nightmare shit. Holy shit, he's open! She'd say, what, but never mind, honey. And then coach, I'm an offensive line coach. You offensive line coach, you're about to have meetings. Again, you're going to talk offense against defense. You're going to have goal line offense, which is, tell me about it. It's just you kick his ass, you jump into his ass, and let's score. But you're going to talk about morale. You're going to talk about what can we do to keep it simple. And that keep it simple rule, I think I've heard it the first time probably Bear Bryant. And I thought, and I love Coach Bryant. But I really thought he was exaggerating, you know? I thought, no, shit. Keep it simple, stupid, you know, that kid. And I really neglected it. As a coach, that was too trivia for me to listen to. Keep it simple. But you know what? The longer I was in it, the more you're in it, the more you know. That's no bullshit. You don't need complications. Keep it simple. But offensive line coaches will get in that meeting pretty soon, and you'll start that shit. You have a good scheme now, and you'll start, what do you think we should do? You're an offensive line coach, aren't you? I can tell. And you'll start, well, let's go with the trap rule. Let's use numbers. 0, 1, 1, 2, block 3. That's good. Let's use zone. Inside shoulder, outside shoulder, up, over, and out, right? Color blue, green, block down, block outside. How about just general rule? Man over first inside, 2 men over the inside, double down. No double, I'll show influence, block out first outside. That's pretty good shit. Why don't we use a little of each? Oh, that'd be good. They'll get that shit. What do we do? Well, we'll just, if there's man on the inside, man on double down, block down. No man on the inside to block down, show influence, block first man outside. No man on the outside, block linebacker, your side down, around, off line scrimmage. Offside guard, pull, even defense, block short. Odd defense, block long. No defense, turn up field, block to the outside. The tackle backside seal and lets the man inside gap. Then you got to clip the backside leg. If there's a man on the outside seam, if they're all in the inside gap, call red, block down. All in the inside gap, block outside, and we'll block blue. If they're in a split 6, call time. Now, do you really believe that shit? Do you think, even in the pros, and you guys played it or know it, and I'm doing some working with them, did they give it this shit? I got a man outside. I got first inside, on or off. I'll take inside seam. You step. I got a lateral. I got 1, 2. All right, double 3. Do you think a high school kid does it? They say block him. Who you block? Him. Who you got? Who do you have? Him. What if there's nobody here? Where's the ball going? Over there. I'll block some bitch over here. What if there's 2 here and the ball's coming? You block him, I'll block him. Is that hard? You'll say, that's too easy. It's not. You know why? You never did it. Guess what they use? Do you really? Well, you guys, you played. Shit. What did you do? I got a man over there. Who you got? Look, that's good enough. They blocked the man near you, but you say it. Now you can teach it. Now you can say thrust, do this, put your legs underneath you, drive. It all depends. The basketball, anybody here with the basketball last year? I had Dave Butts that I coached at Purdue came over for the basketball lecture. I couldn't do it now because I got to fly out right away tonight. And I had Dave stand up, and we went over some of these rules, even though it was a basketball clinic. I said, Dave, first I said, show me the sprint, the wind sprint we used to do. And he stood there, just like a big lummox. I love him. I said, sit! He went. I used to have 1-inch sprints. Are you going to make Dave Butch run? Really? Am I going to say, run, David, run? Dave didn't like to run. I didn't want to piss Dave off. So I said, Dave, sprint. And I said, then what? He'd say, line up again. Now you say, well, isn't that silly? Dave still does it. He's a pro, all pro. He's everything there was. He's a great guy. Still remembers all that stuff. All of it. I said, stance, what stance you use, Dave? Anything I wanted, Coach. What technique you use, Dave? You used to tell me, kill him. That's what I did. I'd say, David, you already kill him. When you have a great player, what do? You talk. You get that arm down, get that inside leg up, get that there, shoot that forearm underneath, get your hand up and drag it, pull it through your ass. If you're blocking a big man, he'll go, hold him. Shit. Be honest. When I was at Michigan, we were playing, Butkus was the middle linebacker. Miner, Butkus, all that gang. And Pete Elliott was the coach. And Bump Elliott was our coach. And I'll never forget going to those movie rooms. There's a more story to this. I might even back it up. But our center was Brian Patchen, a little shit. And I talked all week, I was the offensive coordinator, about what we're going to run. Finally, on Thursday, he said, Coach, yeah, that middle linebacker is pretty good. I said, who's he? Why mention the bastard? But, said, I don't, whew, he is tough. I said, hold him. What do you mean? Just grab his ass every time you have a chance. He said, well, I just hold him. But hold him when you really need it. Like when we run that tear sweep. On the 18-yard line, we thought we could score if we ran a sweep to the outside, block down, pulley on guard, and get Butkus. We thought that their pursuit angle would take them to the point where we could get to the flag. And I'll never forget, but the only thing we had to do was make sure that somebody didn't kill you. Because if he got you at the corner, he'd throw you in the bleacher. And I said, then I think maybe Brian Patchen's his name. He's a lawyer in Miami now. Now you might hold him. I said, now when he's going to get a little angry. True story. We ran that goddamn play. You should see the film. Brian tackled that son of a bitch. We scored. We beat him. We beat them. I can't believe we beat him. I can't believe we. In the film, Butkus just beat the shit out of the kid. And his head was going. Touchdown. Brian come out of the game. He said, Jesus Christ, was he mad? I said, great block. He says, block shit. I tried to tackle him, but I couldn't pull his legs together. He kept tricking me with that son of a bitch. I said, we scored. He said, don't call it again. Dick and I were going to a clinic. We had a clinic in Philadelphia. And we were in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we were sitting on the bench, and Philadelphia airport was closed. So I said, Jesus Christ, Dick, what are we going to do? He said, let's fly backwards. In other words, let's take any plane south we can get, then try to come up the coast. I said, you know, that you always were a little shitty. This goddamn weather's still bad when we go north. He said, let's try it. While we're sitting there, I told him this story. True now. You asked Dick. He chased me through the airport. He got up and he said, you son of a bitch. Was that your idea? I said, I thought it was funny. You asshole. He said, you asshole. And I was, we're walking around that goddamn airport, and he's chasing me. He's still pissed. He said, that little turd was holding on to my goddamn leg. He was mad. I said, Dick, 15 years ago. I don't give a shit. I should have made that play. I remember it, right, Hash? He knew it all. He knew it all. He said, I killed that little bastard, Patchen. He knows him. I said, you good friends? I don't speak to this son of a... He knows him. But if you can't have fun and teach it your way, then don't. There's a proper form of insertion for stimuli. There's a proper way of making people respond to you. It's not being so delicate on certain techniques that are bullshit. It's not teaching Dave Butts how to get into a stance. But it might be teaching Greg Bingham, who played with the Oilers and played nose guard, though, for me, how to get in the stance because Greg wasn't big. You had to work on him a little bit. But with Dave, you just said, kill those guys, Dave. All right. Don't bet. You know, they're big, they're tough people. So don't overcoach a turd. If a turd's a turd, he's going to remain a turd. Appeal to him. Please do what you can do. You know, you guys have a lot of turds. If you have too many turds, you don't win. You can't call them turd. But you understand you don't make turds play well, but you may as well make them play happy. You know, like I say on defense, moves them in nose guard. Then all he can do there is hunt fumbles. And when he finds it, call a good athlete. Come here. I had some good pointers. Jesus Christ. Great. But you laugh. But you know why you laugh? Because you have nose guards that aren't worth a shit. But you try to make them what they aren't. I can't be a Butkus or an Otis. Those are out of my league. I can be me, a Ralph, a turd. I can only play what God gave me. You know how many you have on your team that are that way? Quit comparing them with your best receiver. Quit saying, God damn it, Bob, look at how Pete runs. What are you talking about? Shit, he can't do it. But you demean him because he can't do it. God said, I can't do it. Now you're a coach. There are certain people that can't do it. If they all could, I'd be Michael Jordan. Shit. Not bad. He's great. Why aren't there more? God said there's only one, Michael. If you coached and you expected everyone to play like him, you'd never win. You got to coach from the turd up. From the guy that hunts fumbles. And after the game, you say, how'd you do, Ralph? And he says, I found two. But he's happy as a lark. He doesn't sit in a room and mother you. He doesn't sit in a room and say, son of a bitch. You know what he said to me today? How about the sprints? Morale. Do you ever get on the guy who's last? Of course you do. You know why I didn't? I was him. I couldn't run. I wasn't. God said to me, he said to you, don't be first. Be last. You're a turd. I said, okay. But I didn't have to have you remind me. You dumb shit, Mason. You can't run. We'll time you with a calendar. You can't do this, you can't do that. My lungs are busted. No, you're right, I can't. But you know the guy that came in first? Yeah. I can shake that son of a bitch unconscious. What do you want? You want a sprinter or you want somebody to beat the shit out of somebody? Think about it. We make fun. It's difficult to hire a pro to coach wide receivers in high school. Why would you? In college, they assume everybody can run a 4-3 and make a break, a double whammy, and go to the post and have time. You don't have those. Well, if you don't have them, understand that. Coach with logic. Understand that morale comes by letting a man know that's the best you can do at that position. You're the only one I have there. Then you are what? The best. That doesn't mean he's the worst. Is he your best? Well, yeah. Then tell him you're my best. Not, God damn it, you can't run. If we had somebody faster, you wouldn't be in there. You don't. You're not allowed to trade. You're not allowed to melt down and sell him for fat. You can't. You got to keep him. And you can't mother him and you can't swear because it won't make him any faster. We never give a ribbon to the guy who's last. That's unfair. The first guy that wins gets the ribbon. What about the guy that's last that used to run a 12-200 who's now running an 11-1? That's great improvement. Have you ever said that? He's still last, but he knocked off a full second or so. Say, hey, you're doing a great job. It is a great job. He's better. He's your team. Eventually, if he stays, he plays. If he stays, he plays. Don't make fun of the little guy. I always looked at the little guy. If he had big feet, I kissed him. He'd grow into those goddamn things. Don't ever make fun. If they stay, they play. Don't say he can't do this. Don't say it. It takes a little while to get compassion in coaching. But compassion is coaching. The word coaching means that. It isn't belittling, making fun of, swearing, not using their name, badgering them, and ask them to do things that they cannot physically do. You guys that are coaching junior high ball, how many in here are doing that? Junior high or JV? You're the most important people in the room. See, it's not what you teach. It's the fact that you make them move up to the varsity. I don't care what your record was last year, but if you had 38 guys on the squad, your high school coach should be able to say, how many moving up, John? 38. You're a great coach. That means that you kept it happy. You let everybody play. They love football. And now get them up here and now go after them with technique, ability, and go. But if you down here attempt to, we got to win. I won 10-0. How many you got on the squad? 38. How many are coming up, Bob? 9. I'd fire your ass. But I went 10-0. You're fired. I didn't hire you to win. I hired you to give me 38 football players who kind of like the sport and know a little bit about it, who know our system, know our terminology, but they come up. That's teaching. Morale in the junior high is so important to make them feel a part of it. But if you get a guy coaching down there who's mothering everybody and calling this guy an asshole and a turd and you can't win and we'll never win, they don't need you. They don't need the varsity. So people look in varsity programs who have a limited number of people and saying the junior high program's winning. Then I got to study that. The junior high program's winning. There's nobody on the varsity. Yeah, that junior high coach is great. No, he's an asshole. He's not developing young athletes to come up. He's trying to win. Win in what? Junior high. I was the head coach at Arizona, Cincinnati. I never went to a JV game. Who gives a shit? I'd say, we're playing Arizona State tomorrow night. Where are you going? Movie. Why? I don't give a shit. It's a big game. For who? Arizona State? No, for us. I don't care. I got to beat Cush. I don't care about whoever he is. Just make sure they're all playing. Just make sure they're all getting there. Make sure that next year they have a I can't wait attitude. And then I'll coach them. That's my job. That's my job. Think of that. Morale. List it. Have a meeting about it. Put 15 minutes on how to use key words. What do you say to kids on the field? If you want kids to be quick, then you write on your practice plan, today the key words are quick, faster, move. So that all over the field you hear the same thing. Move it, move it, move it, faster, faster, quick, get up, get up, get up, get out of there, get out of there. At the end of a practice, that generates. As compared to, come on, God, you're too slow. You're not fast. Get up. Come on, we got to be quicker. Everything's negative. Instead of faster, faster, quicker, move, get up, get up, get up. Then on the other side of the field, got to get up. Get off the ground, get off, move, quicker. You build it. The proper insertion of the stimuli is the result and the cause of what makes people go. If you do it along those lines, the quickness develops. If you want people to play, then make sure their locker room is right. You know what a locker room is? It should be painted like this is pretty bright. Bright. I'd hate to have if you're red and black and you paint your locker room red and black, it must be a shit house. Really, you can't do that. They've got to feel some, well, we don't have do you have paint? Go steal it. Paint. They feel better. If they don't, you can't go. Don't tell me about what you're going to teach if you teach with these lights down. I spoke at Stovall's last week, Anaheim, California, Disneyland, 3,000 coaches. And Don Nealon was on ahead of me. And the room was dark. And they had a little stage. And Don's a good speaker. About 45, 50 guys. I thought, Jesus Christ. You know why? It was depressing. The room was depressing. Empty seats. I said, I'm next. I turn those lights on. Shit. I turned the mic up. I start screaming. I had a 2-hour lecture. At the end of the first hour, you'll think I'm bullshitting, close to 2,000 people, because they have volleyball, basketball, they have 18 sports. They heard me yelling. They were coming in from the goddamn streets. Bright, everybody laughing. We had a ball. I don't know if I was saying anything. Who gives a shit? But it was, it's kind of upbeat. Kind of upbeat. I didn't even know Buck Rogers, the coach of the Angels, was there. He come up after. He said, God damn, Coach. I said, what? He said, it was fun. I said, well, I admire the guy. He was the one in that wreck. I said, geez, it's a pleasure meeting you. No, he said, you feel, it's uplifting. That's all it means. I'm not talking about me. Uplifting is how you coach. Uplifting is feeding your enthusiasm. Acting like it's your first day on a job. You're not allowed a bad day. You're not allowed a bad day. If you're a head coach, you never are allowed a bad day. You must be an actor. You got to walk over every day and say, how's it going? You can't say everybody's allowed a bad day. Bullshit. The kids are, but you've got to override that. You got to smile. You got to walk out there with vigor, and you're hurting. They don't know that you also hate two-a-days. Shit. My staff, boy, at the end of the day, they used to crawl in that goddamn room. Oh. But when they were on the field, let's go, man, like nothing's wrong. Remember, the reason you can take it easier than they can, you know when you're going to call it off. They don't. They always think this sumbitch is going to go another hour, and you know in 3 minutes my ass is out of here. Right? When you think of these things, then you start to make fun out of it. And I'm sure, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. Not one thing. You're not hearing one thing that you don't know. All I'm doing is reminding you so that you bring it back. So many of you will take notes at football clinics and never look at the notes. You'll try to remember. Look at them, whether you use them or not. Do something. Talk to your staff about this. You want the difference? Add it on your plan. Add morale. I'm telling you, some of the major colleges in the country, and I started about 8 years ago, have it on their plan. And they'll call me. What about areas of colors? Even colors. Because they knew when I coached, I used to have a locker room all white, and then the second section was brown and white, and the third section was brown. One light bulb, nails on the wall. They knew back there they were shit. They knew that front group, big lockers, white jerseys. They felt great, music, good shower. The other guys had no nozzle. Well, that's motivation. They wanted out of that room. They'd kill you to get up front. And when they got up front, their ass weren't going back in that corner. So I was motivating just coloring. I was motivating just painting. You motivate with all these things. Motivation isn't rah, win one for my grandmother. They don't give a shit about your grandmother. Kids today, did you have a grandma? I'll die. They want to know about me. Team. And you say, well, they go for anything. When I was at Michigan, Bump Elliott was such a nice guy. He didn't like to use the word hate and anger and stuff like that. And I loved that shit. And he hired me because I was different, I think. And fortunately, we went to the Rose Bowl the first year, but it was wild. Because he said, you're nuts. I said, well, shit, somebody better be nuts. These guys, they all thought Michigan was... And I'll never forget using the hate cycle. The first year I was there, I noticed that they weren't, goddamn, their kids didn't let it out. Well, I finally said, this is enough. So I had the offense, and I called them over. I said, man, we're playing Navy, Staubach here. I said, I hate the Navy. He said, why? Well, they shelled our own people. They said, they didn't give a shit. They let those guys go down those ropes. It was too deep, drowned. They left. They didn't give a shit. At night, they sleep in a nice ship. I hate the Navy. You're talking about intellectually pretty smart young people. By Wednesday, they were going, those bastards drowned some of our people. And Bump used to go, what did he say? I said, what were you talking about down there? True. Now, after that, we hurt Staubach. Remember the year Staubach got hurt? That was it. They threw him in the bleachers. That was it. That was the game he got hurt in. 5 rows deep. No more Staubach. So the next week we're playing the Air Force. I said, remember I said about the Navy? Yeah, it's bullshit. Good people. I said, they got torpedoed down. They're tough. I said, let me tell you about the Air Force. I hate those bastards. They bombed our own troops. I said, and they strafed our people. I said, I was in the airborne. Shit. They used to open the door and say, now. I was over the water. They didn't give a shit. I hate them. Wednesday. Those bastards strafed our guys. Yeah, who they think they are, those that? They were looking, do you understand? They wanted something. Bump said, what's that? Don't know. Have no idea. Well, the next part of this is what I told you about. We were playing Illinois when they had Butkus, and you know how it came out. But there, Pete Elliott, how do you talk? I call brothers. So I hate Pete. They said, no shit. Why? I said, when they were kids, Bump got golf lessons. Pete didn't. I said, Pete got golf lessons, Bump didn't. I said, Pete got a bike. Bump did. I said, his mother didn't like Bump. They said, no shit. I said, that's right. So in the middle of the week, Pete did that. Pete got the bike. Mike said, well, he said, what's that? Bump said, what's that call? I said, that's a down block. Pete blocked down. we blocked out. He didn't know what to do. You know what happened in the game. That was a true story. We won the game. Now we're walking across the field. And at Michigan, the visiting team is at tunnel end, and Michigan is opposite the tunnel, so you walk after the game toward the tunnel to get out of there. But their team was coming over because Pete and Bump brothers, right? Our team's walking toward the locker room, and Pete's coming this way. And Big Bill Yerby, a black tackle, All-American, tough sumbitch. I love him like a son. He's going by and he goes, hey, Pete, here's your golf lesson, asshole. Here. And Pete's going, you should have seen Bump. Tom Mack, Los Angeles Ram, he's over there. Tom doesn't say shit if he has a mouth. Nicest guy in the world. He said, you got the bike, you asshole. How's your bike? They were still fired up. Bump said, what are they talking about? I said, I don't know. I said, Jesus Christ. I said, that's nasty what they're saying. I said, but we kicked their ass. So it worked. Those are high class. Tom Mack, all pro. He's a Bill Yerby. That group, shit. Why? They had to have something. Instead of, let's get up now. This is a big game. We're going to play for what bucket or some goddamn bucket. Who cares about a bucket? You got to have it from the gut. So think about it. Exaggerate. Suggest with authority. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Talk loudly. Move. Keep your meetings short. Did you like chalk talks? Then why the hell do you give long ones? Because coaches love the bullshit. Nobody's listening. Make it brief. Keep it condensed. Talk loudly. Make them move, then your eyes follow me. Then in the middle of a sentence, stop. If you say the meeting's 12 minutes. And you're talking and you look down and it's 12 minutes, say, and then men, when we go to the offside block, let's get out there. They know, if this sumbitch says 12 minutes, it's 12 minutes. If I say go off on the first sound, I mean first sound. If I put something on the bulletin board, straight. I don't want that to be crooked and ask the offensive line to line up. Do you understand what psychology is? If this doesn't work with this, you're pulling away. If you don't keep the bulletin board straight, if you don't say, I'm going to talk a certain time and stop, if your practice is not designed to stop on the whistle, not one more, stop. One more play didn't make shit. Probably hurt your best back. What it did. You know, be logical. Practice times, no matter what they are, they're too long. It's not important how long you practice. The important is how much they get out of it, and when they leave the field, if they can bounce. They leave the field, they got it left. Instead of saying, we'll kill them tomorrow. So there's a lot to motivation. This thing, in fact, I didn't even get into it, about using team prayer and colors and all of these things. But stimula is basically Everything you do. It's your attitude, it's the way you look, it's your appearance. You know, if you have a guy walking around at practice with his hat on backwards, tell the son of a bitch to join MTV. What are you doing? I still think that killed Joel Walton. I do. Joe used to wear that hat backwards. People got so pissed at seeing that I think it ruined his career. I tell Joe that. I flew out with him the other day. He's coach of Robert Morris now. I said, Joe, for Christ's sake, you've been around, turn your head around. He said, did I hear about that shit? I said, I know, because that's not it. Look neat. Dress correctly. Wide receivers don't wear loose pants and baggy. Wide receivers are tight and look good. Coaches who are neat look good. If you wear a tank shirt and you wear a hat on backwards, and then you're not coaching. You're bullshitting. They watch you. If you want to line up correctly, blow out on the count, cover men man-to-man, work a dame, work him blocking, cover on 2 deep or 5 under, go to whatever it has to be, then do everything else with neatness, directness, and the way they do things. And then you have a chance. I didn't really get into this, and I can't go on anymore because I got to catch a plane and they don't pay a shit here. And
Remember, I have the last word.
speaking of shit, now I'm telling you. But I enjoy these clinics, and man, they're getting smaller. Too many guys who aren't coaching. Pardon me? Well, I'll pack the goddamn room. We'll get them. They'll come out from the streets. They got to come, not because of just the fact, talk like this. Talk like this. You know, and you're hearing great speakers, but we don't, I don't know. It's not like the good old days, boy. Remember, you guys know what I mean. These clinics, Jesus. It was a big time. We've got to get them going again. We've got to get our profession up there to fight. We're in the middle of a fight. Those women, those broads are trying to take all our money. Bastards. I hate them and soccer coaches. It's soccer. I'd rather watch 2 guys fish. Well, okay, man, that's about it. I have about 8 to 9 tapes on motivation. They're $10 each. I bring that many only because I can't answer the mail. If you wish to get one, come on up. When they're gone, they're gone. But thank you very much. I have to get to the airport, and I enjoyed it. Good seeing you again, Jim, baby. Otis was the best. I'll see you later. Don't forget that Japan trip. I'm ready. Got Tony Abachai. Here's that.
Today, some things that we do at Kent Ridge High School. I'm sure a lot of these things that you folks already do, so if maybe you can just get an idea or two, or maybe a variation of something you're already doing, that would be great. These are the topics I want to talk about. Hopefully, if I am organized, spend about 5 minutes on each section, and if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to have a lot of, for each section, I'll have overlays of different forms that we use. So, if you see anything that maybe you're interested in, I'll have a sheet you can sign up, and I'd be happy to send you a copy of anything that might interest you. All right, first topic will be academics. I think we're probably a typical high school in the state. This year we had one athlete that was recruited heavily by Division I AA. He ended up signing a full ride scholarship to Boise State University. We'll probably have 2 kids that will go to Central, Western, UPS type of school. And then for the other 23 kids, they'll be going to school or they will be working. Their football career is done. So we really believe that academics is very important. These are some of the things, you know, that in terms of our goals, we emphasize with our kids that they'll pass all the classes, that they will raise their GPA from when they enter our door. We have sophomore, junior, senior kids, so we track them from their freshman year. We want to see that thing on a steady climb. All seniors in the program will graduate. And everybody has a different situation. You talk to some people, and that might sound like a real low-level goal. Well, everybody graduate. But we feel we get all types of kids. We get kids from dysfunctional families. We get kids that come to us with 1.8 GPAs. And it is a good goal for them to graduate, that they don't drop out or things like that. So that's a base goal. Obviously, some of our kids that are better academically, that is not a great goal for them. Okay, but we do want to include everybody. Preparation for college or future careers. Then again, the kid that achieves high academically, we want to help them get ready for college. And then finally, promote good citizenship and leadership. That's throughout our school, at lunchtime, after school, and other activities or whatever. Specifically on college preparation, these are some of the things that we do with our athletes. Number one, we discuss entrance and eligibility standards with athletes in all grade levels. We know next year we're going to new standards. Okay, the GPA is going up, the SAT scores are going up. If your incoming kids don't know that, which a lot of them they don't, or even the juniors or seniors, okay, they can be operating in the dark. So our staff feels it's our job to let those people know what they are. We get them in a meeting, we give them handouts, all the SAT information. Wazoo, UW, they're very good about sending head coaches those flyers that list out all the academic standards, core curriculum, all that type of information. We turn that over to the kids. Okay, we promote academic excellence when they're in the class and then the college prep classes, so that they know what they need to take. That I need to take this amount of English. I need to take some foreign language, so that they're prepared for that. We distribute the SAT and SAT testing information in the study booklets. I actually hand deliver those to each one of our juniors, because we want the juniors, we encourage them to take it in that second semester of their junior year. Again, anybody that has not taken it their junior year, we're right back on them as seniors. Anybody that didn't get a real high score, we encourage them to take that again. We have some kids that want to go to the Ivy League type of schools. Now they're looking at, maybe I have 850, that's not high enough to get in, so maybe I have to take it a couple times, try to get to 950, 1,000, whatever is necessary. Okay. Now, how do we monitor a lot of these things that we do? Number one, we chart classes passed and the GPA information for all athletes in the program from 9th grade. I actually backtrack, look through, and find what we track passing classes and their GPA. I'll show you an overhead of that in a second. So when that kid graduates, we can look at every semester and know how many classes they passed, what their GPA was. When I sit down and do their off-season evaluation, this is a big part of it. Here's what you did. Look at how you're improving as we go along. Next, we operate a grade check system during the football season. Our school, our district, has not placed their own standards on us. I read around where some districts or certain schools, they'll make a 2.0 GPA a requirement in their school. We don't have anything like that. We're just WIAA, pass 4. So that means I can flunk 2, pass 4, and I'm eligible. But we don't think that's every so we demand that our kids are passing all classes, and they go through a grade check system. They go through it every 3 weeks during the fall, and they must be passing at that time. I'll show you the form that we use. We develop positive working relationships with teachers, counselors, and tutors to help monitor and motivate your athletes. Again, it gets back to that, how do we come off to the faculty? Okay? Are we the football coaches that kind of cluster off in the faculty meetings? We don't interact with anybody. So it's kind of, there's those football guys on their own program that don't care about academics. I'm fortunate, my staff, I'm a business teacher. I have 2 English teachers, a math teacher, science, social studies. We have just about everything covered. so we can get our voices, we can get this information out to all the departments in our school. We work with the teachers. All the guys on my staff are excellent teachers. And so they do a very good job of building bridges, building relationships with the faculty in our school. Okay, now here's an example of the grade check that we use. Okay? We try to make it simple. Now, those of you that teach out there, you know, every time that kid wants to go on a field trip, every time they want to do something, they give you that form. You got to read it and fill it out. So they pretty much read this the first time and know what's going on. The thing they get down to is that they can just initial it and they tell us whether they're passing or failing. Okay, that's all I want to know. If there being any problems, they can give us some comments here. Okay, so the kids take that around the 3rd week, the 6th week, the 9th week, and then hopefully if there's a 12th week. And so they go around, everybody has to get this filled in. They need to get it in by a set date. If they do not, they're not eligible that week. Now, let's say a kid is not passing the class, then they get this form. This form then goes to an individual teacher. I'll go around myself. And now we're going to get specific. What are the problem areas here? We're building a contract with that athlete. We're going to find a way to correct the behavior. Do we need tutoring? What is the problem here? So now they can check off. We can get all the specifics, and now we can get down to business, getting that person so they're passing the class. Okay? Then we compile a list similar to this, where now we're going to list out our athletes, what their grade is, what the class is. So now we have a definite tool that we can look through our roster, see where the trouble spots are. Now getting back, we got math, foreign language, government, science. Again, our coaches in those areas then will identify these kids and work with them in their departments. This is an example of when I said we track them throughout. Okay, now, we get kids from Meridian Junior High and Meeker Junior High. When the kid comes to us, they're right here at a sophomore. So I backtrack and find out this is how many classes they passed, what their GPA was at the semester. So if you look at a kid, for example, little Chuck here, okay, you can see the steady incline. He was on the way up, did not play his senior year. Okay, Joel Ellis, a kid, we can see he maintained a pretty good grade point all the way through. And when I sit down with them in the off season, this is a great tool for me to see how they're improving. A guy like Tommy Goggins came to us in pretty bad shape. Now you can see Tommy's improved as he's coming along. It's a good motivational tool for him. Okay, the next topic I'd like to talk about is the coaching staff. And some of the things that we do as a coaching staff. You know, I've read where a couple people have written things where they say, you know, I don't view them as assistant coaches, view them as associates. And I definitely fall into that category. You know, I'm very fortunate, like I said before, our staff average age is about 32 years old. We're a lot of common interests, similar backgrounds, all of us went to local colleges, and we all get along great. And I really do think of them as associates. We work together, and we put this whole program as our program, not just Marty Osborne's. First section, kind of how we're going to develop a staff. You know, I think you really have to work with your administration when you're hiring new people. And I'm going to show you an overlay that kind of graphs out all the people in our district, but our principal is a former football coach. Our athletic director is a former football coach. Our district athletic director is a former football coach. So all those people know what we need in that building. And so we work with them, and that helps a lot. Okay? Hire excellent teachers. Try to get a mixture of personalities. That kind of goes back to, I don't want a bunch of clones of Marty Osborne. Okay? Because if I have people all like me, we're all going to make the same mistake. So I want a variety of personalities, and sometimes that's hard, because if somebody's very opinionated, or maybe they see things different than you, sometimes it's hard to allow that, or to be okay with that, and so that's a real challenge. Promote social activities to build unity. I think, you know, I talk to a lot of people. If I didn't like the guys that I work with and we didn't do a lot socially, that would take half the fun out of it. We're a close group. You know, we socialize after the games. They're all here at the clinic today. Everybody got the night off, so we're going to spend a little time in the lounge, and we just build those times in, and definitely that helps us become a close staff. Okay, in terms of staff expectations, develop a handbook of staff expectations. When I first got into coaching, got this from Jim Walden. He came in and he showed us this thing that he had, that he sat down with all of his coaches and talked about what his expectations were. So it wasn't just, hey, let's roll the balls out, go out in the field, and then you correct all the problems. Okay, you get out there and some guy's doing something you don't like, or boy, where'd we come up with that drill? And now you're correcting all these problems. So as he shared it with us, with this staff expectations, now we address how will we talk to the athletes? What type of dress will we have on the field? If a kid does, so let's tell a kid cusses you out on the field, you don't have the power to kick him off the team. Okay? So that's one thing we talk about. He is suspended temporarily, sent out of there, and then we'll discuss as a staff when you cool down. Okay, I learned that one the hard way. First year, got his year off the team. Well, no, he is not the team. So then we had a big problem. So, we talk about all the different situations, how we'll handle them, how we'll present ourselves, how we'll talk to the media, all these different things. Okay, then we revise it and update it each year, and they get a little bored with it, but every year at our, one of our preseason meetings, we sit down and talk about our expectations. Okay, share your expectations philosophy with the administration also. I sit down with the athletic director, our principal, so they know philosophically where we're at, how we handle different situations. If kids want to come out late, if kids want to quit, if there's a problem, they need to know how we handle it. Okay, down to the responsibilities. Critical portion is to match coaches with appropriate duties. I think, again, it goes back to if you're a dictator, this is what you're going to do. You will do these things. We sit down as a group and say, how are we going to all fit into this picture? Who's going to take gear? Who's going to run the bulletin board? Who's going to run our grade check program? And then we kind of fit the different needs to all the different people. And so we do that collectively as a staff. It changes year to year, so one guy doesn't have maybe the dirty detail. And so again, we share in that process. Keep an open mind to the coach's strengths and dislikes in areas where they need to gain experience. Okay, some of our staff members have gone maybe from outside linebackers one year to the D line. Had a guy that said, I need to learn more about the passing game. He moved to the running backs this last year, and now he's more in tune with what we're doing in terms of our passing schemes and things like that. But it was kind of initiated by him that he wanted to make a change. Rotate responsibilities daily, weekly, okay? Provide detailed instruction and expectations. Again, we're talking about motivating staff people. All of us deal better when we know what the expectations are. So if I'm the junior high, or if I'm the JV coach, these are all my duties, okay? If I'm in charge of putting together the fall sports program, these are all the expectations for me. And, we have our playbook is probably filled more with expectations, procedures, and policies than a lot of plays for the kids. Okay. Down to staff motivation at the very bottom there. Provide each staff member opportunities for ownership. And, that is one of the big things I believe in terms of motivating your coach. If I was the only guy coaching a practice and everybody else was standing around like dummies, they have no ownership of that program. So that means on Friday night when things go to crap, hey, it's your problem, You're doing the whole thing there, buddy. But when you have a guy that's running the defense, you have a guy that's running the special teams, you have a guy that's running your offensive line, you have a guy that's running your sophomore program, you put people in charge of all those things, they take ownership of it. Okay? When I first came in, now I've been there 3 years now, and that was one of the hardest decisions because we all know once you give something, it's hard to pull it back. Okay, you're going to be the offensive coordinator, and then if they don't do a good job, it's hard to yank that thing back. So that's a difficult thing. But I think if you work with your coaches and they have the desire, the more responsibility you get, the more they can do, and the happier they are. Okay, the next one, make reasonable allowances for staff individuality and special circumstance. Well, I don't know everybody's situation at the high school level in here, but I'll tell you what, mine changes year to year. We're not in college. If we have an opening, I don't have 50 people applying for that football position where I can go through all 50 people and hire anybody that I want. So I think it's very important that I keep my people happy. If my coaches decide to all defect and quit coaching and retire, okay, then I'm out in the community looking for people. So, with that in mind, I think just this year alone, I have a coach that's going through his master's program. I have a coach that just had a baby. I just had a young baby. I have another coach that's getting married this summer. And how that all affects things is, operating the weight room in the summer. Who's going to supervise that? Who's doing our off-season things? One coach might have to miss a little bit of double days. And so I can either hard-nose them about it and maybe lose coaches, or we can all work together and we can find out a way to work around those types of things. That has been my approach, and that's been very effective, I believe. Okay, make each staff member feel important. Okay, this goes back to dealing with the media. I work primarily with the offense, so when they start talking about the defense, do I kind of just take credit for the whole works, or do I make sure that my defensive coordinator's name is mentioned so that it's associated with our defense's his name? Are we spreading the wealth in front of your team? Okay, do you promote your coaches in front of that team? Hey, God darn Coach Dacus, he does a great job with our O-line, and those kinds of things. The kids pick up on that. People in your building, how do you talk about your coaches in the building? Okay, are you kind of, geez, so-and-so's a dink and we're just kind of carrying him along? Or are you promoting your staff to people in the building so that they perceive your whole staff as, hey, what a bunch of good guys, what a bunch of good teachers, they care about kids. Get your staff bought into that. The last one there is utilize time management techniques. When I first got into coaching, we did the old Sunday meetings where you watched the Seahawk game, you broke down some film, we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we met from 8 in the morning till about 8 at night. And you could look on paper and say, we met for 16 hours, but half of it was just goofing around watching the Seahawks and stuff like that. So again, going back to those situations I just mentioned, kids, master's programs, okay, we're busy people. The better we utilize our time, again, coaches are going to be happy, coaches are going to be getting the job done. The more I can lay out for them, okay, if, typing things up, getting them organized, having stations set up, all those organizational tasks I can do as a head coach that I can lay it out for them is time management, makes them happier and lets them go out and do their job. Okay, now a couple things off of that. Here's this is an overlay of our district, or excuse me, our school in particular, in the Kent School District. And what this is this kind of a flow chart here. This is Dave Lutz, a lot of you know him. He's our district athletic director, former head coach at Kentwood. Just a great guy to work for. He's one of those guys that is a real valuable resource to all the coaches in our district. I've gone to him for 3-4 hour meetings talking about different things, and he's just been so valuable I can't tell you. Our principal is a former coach. The former coach at Kent Ridge is our AD. So again, I'm very lucky. I've got all football people in place there. These are the two junior highs that feed us. Eric Anderson, head coach at Meeker, Mike Foster at Meridian, both excellent coaches. They have great staffs. One thing I'll highlight here that when I first came to Kent Ridge, I had a vice principal that we were talking about junior highs, and I made the comment of, yeah, when those guys come up to the high school, and he kind of corrected me, said, what do you mean up to the high school? I said, well, they come up to the high school. And he said, no, they come over to the high school. I said, well, what do you mean? And what he kind of explained was, you set yourself up in the tower. Here we are, we're the high school. When you guys come up to the high school, when you kids or when you coaches, and it kind of makes a separation. It makes the junior high people feel like we're down here, high school's up here. And so just that one word, and it's tough because I kind of grew up with the come up to the high school concept, but we've tried to adopt that of our staff. Because we go out to a lot of their games, we interact with our junior high people a lot, so it's, hey, you guys come on over to the high school, or we're going to come over to your place and watch your game. Not we're going down to your place and watch the game. And so just a subtle thing, but again, something that we emphasize. This is my staff right here, and again, very good people. This is an overview of our staff at Kent Ridge right here. Barely get it in. And this just kind of, we have this outlines the duties, and We have offensive coordinator, myself. I have a defensive coordinator, Matt Sorotsky. Glenn Dacus is our special teams coordinator. Each position coach then is under their kind of jurisdiction or whatever. But at our staff meetings and whatnot, we cut across all lines. In other words, the defensive back coach can have ideas about what we do on offense too. These are some of the miscellaneous tasks that we do down here. My tasks, our assistant coaches, and then the things that we do as a coaching staff all together over there. Okay, the next section talks about junior high involvement. Okay, these are some of the things that we do to involve our junior high, make sure that they feel a part of our program. Okay. I think the first thing is communication. I'll talk to junior high people and they'll say, I barely know the guy that coaches at the high school in our district. When I first got to Kent Ridge, our assistant coaches didn't know the junior high guys. Just a total lack of communication, not knowing people. Again, it gets back to that ownership. Where now we know the junior high people, they know us, they're excited about their kids coming up, we're excited about their kids coming over to us. Okay? So we initiate a lot of phone conversations with the junior high coaches. I talk to them probably about every 2 weeks during the year, just how things going, how you doing, hey, we're coming down to your game, we saw your game last week, talking about kids. The next one, provide coaches with all the information that would be informative or interesting. So in other words, we send rosters down to them. We send copies of our program. Anything about our program, I'm going to send to those junior high guys. Our banquet, who our award winners were. I want to share that information because those were originally their kids. Just when we send kids to the college, I mean, I get excited when I go up to UW and see Lynn Johnson, who I coached in high school. Not like I did anything for him. It's just there's a neat friendship there. He's a kid I was connected with. And it feels good that he can go on and play. And I think there's the same feeling for our junior high people, that their kids can come over to the high school and be successful. We want to share that with them. Exchange important information. Also, we need their schedules, their rosters, all that type of thing. Ways to build relationships. I think a lot of it's your mindset. I think, do you really feel like you need the junior high people? Or do you just run your program and, those guys don't know anything and by the time we get them, we'll coach them up? Or do you really feel like you need them to be helpful down there? Okay, invite the junior high coaches to your preseason stuff. Okay, realizing though that they have lives, that they have a lot of things going on. You have coaches that may have been there for 20 years. They're not interested in moving over to the high school. Might not be as inclined as maybe that young coach that someday does want to coach at the high school. But I think the key is offer those things to them. Don't attach something to it. Don't make them feel guilty if they don't want to. But make it a sincere offer that they can come up and do that if they choose to. Attend junior high games, functions, and banquets. The last 2 years, our assistant coaches average each coach goes to at least 3 games at the junior highs for both of them, Meridian and Meeker. They play on Thursdays. What we do is we rotate our schedule so 1 or 2 coaches head out early every Thursday and they go to those games. And we make sure that, we're seeing at those things. That's the next one, create ways for them to get there. If you have more than one junior high school, now this is a common thing too. If I have one school feeding me, then I can be best friends with them, that's great. But we have Meeker who feeds us directly, and then Meridian feeds us, Kent Meridian, and some other people. But just because we're not getting 100% of them, we have to work hard to make sure that we treat them both equally and the same. Recruiting the athletes. Make sure you get introduced at the beginning of the season. They're very good about that. I'll go down early in the year and get in the huddle with them. So this is Coach Osborne, and I'll give them a little spiel about football. But that's when I tell them that we'll be coming down, watching their games, getting connected to their program, and we'll be in touch with them. Be visible at the games. This is something that we do. Each junior high sends us 2 athletes each week. They come up on game night. The kids will come up about 5 o'clock. We have a coach that's assigned to greet them and kind of get them introduced to people at the beginning. And then they actually travel with us. They go to the game, they go to the meetings, they're on the sideline, ride the bus. And so if you figure about usually about 6 or 7 games, 2 kids apiece. We're getting about 14 or 15 kids from each school. And usually it's the good kids, the leaders. So they come in, they see our program, we treat them with respect. They go back and hopefully they spread the word. So that's been a good deal for us. We offer a junior high camp in the spring. This also has been very good to us. A lot of you I know are running spring camps in June or July or whatever. We run a 3-day camp for the junior high kids. And I go down to the junior highs, or go over to the junior highs, excuse me, still got to break that, go over to the junior highs. And I go over there, and my prep period is first period this semester, so I go down there early in the morning, and I just hang out in the hall with Eric, or I go down with Mike, and they introduce me to kids, and I put my arm around, hey, make sure you come up to the high school, we got the meeting, did you get the letter, did you get this or that? And so we make a lot of contact that way. We're sending them letters, all of our newsletters, and we get them to this camp. The first day is an orientation. Okay, so they all rally up over at Kent Ridge about 3 o'clock, and we have senior athletes, and we tour up the whole school. We take them and they meet people and they see everything, the locker room, the field, the business department, the cafeteria, because a lot of those kids have never been to your high school. The first time they're going to come is first day of practice, and they're going to be scared spitless. Okay? So we want to try and break down some of those barriers. So we get them up there in a comfortable setting, give them some pop and cookies and walk them around. And then we have a big meeting with them and give them a packet with all the times and dates. Then we bring them back for 2 more days and we actually go on the field and do some football things. For us, a lot of that is trying to bring 2 junior highs together so that they're no longer, I'm a Pioneer, I'm a Monarch, now we're a Charger. Okay? So then throughout the summer, we'll contact them by mail and phone, and we try to get them into our summer weightlifting, going to camps, and all those types of things. This is something that we started doing this about a year ago. Kind of like a report card. I send this to each coach towards the end of the year, where I take each sophomore that we have and type up a little blurb on them in terms of what level they've played for us, any accomplishments, if they were a traveler, if they've played any, had they started, were they a backup, this or that. And again, just a thing back to our junior high people so that they can know what their kids are doing when they're getting involved with us. Okay, next general topic, talk a little bit about leadership. Again, as you get older, as you grow in the coaching profession, this was probably a category that I took for granted when I first got into coaching, that leaders are born, not made, and that hopefully you get some good ones, because if you don't, you got problems. And I tell you, that was not the strategy to take. And after having 1 or 2 bad classes of captains, some shaky senior classes, really did some soul searching, started to study up a little bit more on leadership, and kind of came to the conclusion that we need to coach this up. This needs to be a high priority in our program, that we're going to teach leadership skills, we're going to talk about all these things, and then really promote it. So in terms of the first level there is administrative leadership, all the support that we need from those people to back us up in what we're doing. Coaching staff leadership, we model the behaviors that we want. If we want the kids to talk positive, feel good about themselves, we've got to model all those behaviors. If we talk to the kids about, hey, we're not going to be cutting each other down, we're not going to be doing that put-down game, and then I'll walk out and say, hey, Coach Johnson, nice hairdo today, bud. Then that's sending a bad message to them. Okay, we're saying one thing, but then we're doing the opposite. So we've really got to be careful how we model. Leadership training activities. We actually talk about the components of leadership to them with a heavy emphasis on our seniors. We take our seniors the first day of practice, have a senior retreat. We do an all-day, first day practice of testing and out on the field. Then that night we go to a senior's home. We take our whole coaching staff, wives, kids, in the senior class, and we sit down and we talk about what we're going to accomplish that year. And we make each senior have to stand up and talk about what they expect that year, how they feel about our program, just sharing a little bit. And we actually try to guide them and talk to them about the things that are going to be important, how they treat the underclassmen, how they treat themselves, that, you know, there's always going to be issues that come up. You know, I'll look at all 25 of those seniors and tell them point blank, you will not all start. 25 of you people, we don't have 25 starting positions. Okay? We are right up front about that. You've got to find your niche in the program. Where are you going to fit in? Some of you are going to be backups. Some of you are going to be standing next to me. And we talk about all the different levels of commitment, the different levels of support, and how they can fit in and plug in. And so it's just not kind of the big mystery to them. So we definitely address that. Get into senior leadership. We do the retreat. We encourage them to have team meetings on their own. We vote for 4 captains at the beginning in the fall. We utilize our seniors throughout the summer and the off season when we're inventorying gear. We'll have the kids come up, trying to give them ownership in the program. When I go to order equipment, I'll grab a whole bunch of them. They'll come in the room and say, "Hey guys, what do you think? You know, do we like the uniform still? Do we need more Douglas shoulder pads? What do you guys like better, Riddell or the AHI?" So again, giving them that ownership, they get to help in the decision making. We're going to have a spirit pack. You guys design the logo you want on the t-shirts and get back to me. So we try to pull that in. They're calling the sophomore kids. We have phone trees in the summer that they're calling people. Then we get specific to the captains. When they're selected, I have them down to my house for a breakfast or a brunch, and we sit down and I have a captain's manual where I've stolen Frosty Western stuff. I've stolen stuff from probably you out here in the crowd. Anything that's dealing with PMA or whatever, leadership, Carnegie, whatever, we sit down. It takes a couple hours and we go through all of that. I talk to them about how they interact with the team, how they've got to pull this team together. And so we spend a lot of time. I work through the captains. We meet every Monday after practice. I talk to them about the game plan. Guys, this is the game plan. This is why we're going to do it. Talk about any disciplinary problems, any kids that are going to be possibly be demoted. I talk to the captains because a lot of times what happens, the kid gets demoted and nobody on the team knows why. You know, John went from first string to second string, and hey, you know, he scored 2 touchdowns. Yeah, but every other play didn't do his job. Okay, so they don't know a lot of times. Also, it's a time where I'll get back, you know, coach, you know, so-and-so is doing pretty good in practice. You guys might want to take a longer look at him. So it's a time for us to deal with a lot of these issues. Okay, or if somebody's kind of been down the dumps, I can get feedback. Yeah, his folks are going through a divorce or whatever. So we're plugged into our team and what's going on. Okay, next I'd like to share with you some of our off-season programs, some of the things that we do. You know, as we know, football at all levels has become a year-round activity. And geez, the days of coaching 3 sports, we got a guy on staff, Jeff Shoemaker, that does that, and I'm amazed because it just takes so much out of you. I used to be football track. When I went to Kent Ridge, I backed off on track, and I have no idea how I ever coached track because I'm so busy year-round. But powerlifting is one of the main points in our program. We're firm believers in powerlifting. We follow the bigger, faster, stronger program, and there's no substitute for strength. And it's something we expect all of our kids at all positions to be involved in. At our school, our head track coach, he runs the powerlifting program. He's a real strong guy, real big believer in it. And we offer it 7 periods a day, 0 hour to 6 hour. You could come to our school any period and you'd see men and women getting after it, power clean squats, not in there doing this kind of stuff. And the weenie wagger lifts, they're in there getting after it, doing power lifts that will make them better athletes. And they run the program great. One of our coaches also is involved in that. We carry that on throughout the summer. We also have an after-school program. First of all, I expect the kids to get in class, especially the multi-sport people. Because if I'm playing baseball, there's no way I can come in after school and lift. So if I'm in another sport especially, I'm expected to be in there. But during the school year, from the day the season's over with, we open the weight room 3 days a week from 2:30 to 4:30. That's 3 days a week from the day football's over till when football starts up again. All of our coaches lift, so it's no problem because we're all going to work out anyway. We get the kids to lift with us, and there's some real good modeling going on in the weight room. In the summer, we went to 2 sessions last year. Worked great. We ran a morning session and a night session. One of the things that I went to a couple years ago, stole from somebody, of course, is that we offer our equipment not based on the fact that by time now you're a senior, but by your weightlifting attendance. Okay? And I'll tell you what, that first year I went to Kent Ridge, we had a couple of stud seniors that had to go to the back of the line and get the old Crusader shoulder pads and stuff, and that made a big impression on them, and we haven't had many problems since. But that first year was kind of the key year, and we had a whole bunch of sophomores lined up at the front of the line. Boy, they just came to everything and worked hard. So again, that's just something different, but that has worked well for us. Our older kids should be in there lifting anyway. They should be in the front of the line getting their gear. Conditioning, going along with bigger, faster, stronger, we do the dot drills, all the running things, the jumping rope, box step, all of those kinds of things. We just follow right along with that program. During the summer, we give them a running program. We have a great complex there. They can run hills, they can run stairs, they can run the track. We've got open gym for hoops, the whole works. Okay, now involvement in other sports. You know, I went from AA to AAA, and a lot of people said, "Oh, shoot, AAA now. You know, you can't be doing all those sports." And I don't buy that. I think kids can be involved in a lot of different activities. Name one UW guy that they just signed that only played football, or Wazoo. I mean, Tony Coates from South Kitsap, one of the best kids in the state. Football, basketball, and I think he does track. Benji Olson, also from South Kitsap, football and track. You know, you look at all those great athletes, they're helping out different programs in that school. So we encourage athletes to be involved in another sport during the year. I'm not sure, at least for our school, it's very difficult. We probably had just a handful of kids that were 3-sport people. It's real tough to do the football, wrestling, baseball, or the football, basketball, and soccer, or whatever. Especially with soccer, so many of those sports are year-round. You know, we lift weights in the off-season, but if I'm basketball, I play basketball. I got spring league, summer league, fall league. If I'm baseball, we play about 120 games in the summer now. We're like a major league outfit. Okay, you don't see those people ever again. These are the sports that we really promote: basketball, wrestling, and track. And it doesn't mean that we put down or anything else. I just don't know that I'm going to tell my quarterback to go out and play 120 games and never see him again. If he wants to and he's a great athlete, fine, I'll be supportive of him. But I'm probably not going to try and push him that way. And we're supportive of athletes in all sports. Okay, again, some other things that we're doing in the off season here are our camp in the fall, or spring, excuse me. Okay, we run a 4-day spring camp in June. The first day is meetings, then the other 3 days we're on the field. Kind of a low key. We don't want to kill them. It's been a long year. They've been playing a lot of different sports, doing a lot of things. We're interested in them getting good grades at that point in time. So we keep it short and sweet, but a couple things I think we're really trying to get across at this point of the year is, one, look around, there are no seniors. Juniors, you are now seniors. So that leadership, that, hey, I'm no longer the guy 2nd or 3 deep in the line, I'm in the front of the line. I'm out in front leading stretch now. So that mental transition is what we're really interested in. Also, just as coaches, we kind of stand back, you know, okay, give us the number 1 huddle. I always like to see who's going to jump in that number 1 huddle. I want to see who sees themselves getting in those spots. Also, this has been great for us in terms of, you know how you have that kid that, hey, coach, I want to play. Yeah, where you been? He's a senior or whatever, and he hasn't turned out for 2 years. Springtime's a great time to get them out, especially if they're a quarterback, receiver, running back, DB, and you can get them, they can come out, they can kind of see if they like it, versus coming out during double days and you give them gear and all that. And so we've really tried to sell kids that want to come out for the first time. Come out in spring, see if you like it, get a taste of it, and then come back in the summer if it looks like something you'll be interested in. Let's see. Talks a little bit about our, again, position change. This is another good time. All the linemen that think they should be receivers, the kids that should be running backs, give them a chance now and it won't hurt you. Okay, spring We already talked about the junior high camp a little bit. The following week we do our own passing league. We follow the UPS passing league rules. We divide our squad into 2 or 4 teams, and then we run that ourselves. Okay, a couple other things that we're doing now. We, myself, Tom Ingalls, and Bruce Rick at Kentwood, Kent Meridian, we got together a couple years ago and decided, hey, it'd be fun if we had a powerlifting competition between the 3 high schools. And so we came up with the Kent Liftoff. All of our coaching staffs are involved in this, and it's in conjunction with all of our spring practice. What we do is we pick 18 members. I think we have 6 different weight categories. A kid can only do 1 lift, so I either do power clean, bench, or squat. So that means we get a higher number of people. So each school has 18 kids involved. We rotate schools. We hosted the first one, and they come in, and we have competition. It does a lot of neat things. It's, I think, you know, we have a lot of kids that maybe aren't great football players, but they're great lifters. You know, I think every one of you can think of a couple kids in your program that, you know, he's a so-so football player, but man, he is a good weightlifter. This has been a great thing for those kids. You know, they don't get a lot of recognition on the football field, but this is a time where they can come out and shine. And it also gives them something to point for. We incorporate our seniors. A lot of times after the season, we lose our seniors. They have nothing more to point towards. We usually get about 6 or 7 or 8 of these kids are going to be senior football players. Okay, so that keeps them tied in throughout the end of the year. It builds cooperation. It breaks down some of the, you know, if you have bad feelings, bad blood amongst your high schools. For us, it allows those kids a chance to meet. All the coaching staffs have got to know one another better, and it's just made for a nicer situation in Kent. Summer football camps. Okay, we don't pressure them, but we encourage them to go to camp, talk to them about ways to save money. Okay. Then we run a summer passing camp 1 day a week. We have them come up an hour before powerlifting, and we have all of our backs receivers. They go through run plays, skelly, and do all that kind of thing. This is great for the incoming sophomores. We've done this the last 2 years. They come into your fall camp. They already know your passing game. They already know how to get in cover 3, cover 2, those kinds of things. Okay, this was something I got from Dave Lutz that he used to do. Summer conditioning camp. This is conducted in August, and basically what we do is we go 3 days a week, and usually it breaks out to about 9 or 10 days. We run a conditioning camp for an hour. We shut down the weight room a half hour early. We go from 7 at night till 8 o'clock, and we actually put them through 40 times, hundreds, hills, agilities, the whole works. And so they're actually conditioning, getting after it. Some of the benefits are the team unity thing. We averaged about 30 to 40 kids last year each meeting. The kids, we know how it is. Yeah, coach, I'm running. Yeah, I ran to the refrigerator is about all I've been doing. So we get them, we can make sure that they're conditioning. And the other advantage for the kids is our conditioning test, I don't know if you consider that hard or not, but we make them run 16 100s with 30 seconds rest in between, and it kind of gets after you a little bit. You can't do that and not be in shape. So especially for our big boys who don't want to do that, they will come to those conditioning camps. We feel if they come to 90% of them, they're going to be in pretty good shape. We'll make sure that they get there. This also has some consequences if they don't make it within a certain time frame. So it's not just limp through those, it's make it in a certain time. Okay, now a couple specifics about our powerlifting program. Right here. Okay. You know, talks a little bit about our philosophy. Again, some of the things that I've already covered in terms of bigger, faster, stronger. We do a lot of goal setting with our kids. We do some reward. These are some of the things that we do in terms of rewards, t-shirts, lifting clubs, lifting records, all that kind of thing. Yeah, I'll show you a couple forms that we use to track things. This is the form that we're currently using right now to track their off-season powerlifting. It's kind of hard to see there. Basically, we take each kid, these are all of our returning players. This number means they have a powerlifting class. The X is when they lift in powerlifting. The dot is when they come in after school. And we will continue to track them from the 1st of January until the end of August before we report. Again, handing out their gear and some other things, and then this gives them a good idea of how many people are lifting. We keep a lot of records. Everything's on a computer. We have our whole team, all their testing marks, all their lifting marks. We put together things like this. These are our top 20s from this last fall. Bench, squat, clean. Your body weight times. Probably some of the biggest progress we've made has been in the power clean area right here. We didn't have many kids 3 years ago that were over 205. Now you can see we've got a whole slug of them at 225 to 230. Same thing with the squats. My first year we had like 6 guys that could bench 300 and couldn't squat 300. So that was kind of embarrassing. So we've improved that. You can see bench, 1 or 2 kids. That's fine, but we're really worried about the clean and the squat. Okay, a couple things on program goals and evaluation. Okay, I think whenever you get into a situation, develop a 5-year plan, okay, that reflects your philosophy. Then from that, you're going to have a plan each year. I share that with my staff. We all as a staff sit down, reflect, and adjust that as possible. We do team goal setting with our kids, again, for that buy-in factor. Okay, guys, what do we want to accomplish this year? League championships, all those things. Really emphasizing how we're going to get there. Not just, everybody wants to get to the King Bowl. Everybody wants to play 13 games. Okay, program evaluation at the end of the year, big meeting, big packet for each coach. We cover everything, and it's usually about a 10-hour meeting, and we go through and we're critical of everything. My play calling, our defenses, our kids, weightlifting, everything. One of the things that came out this year, we have pretty good strength. We feel like we match up pretty good. We ran into South Kitsap, and we found that we need to go to the next level strength-wise. Tony Coates, Benji Olson, they knocked the living hell out of us. We couldn't even hold our own against those folks. So that's been one of our goals this off season, was that. This is an example of a goal sheet that each kid would get. Right here, sit down, kind of identifies some of the different things. Where am I at currently? Where do I want to be at these different checkpoints? Some of my personal goals, we share those things with them. They can fill those out. Let's see. Okay. All right. Now, we're talking about organization and, how do we get organized within our program? How are we going to do some of these things? I think these are some of the key areas that my coaches and myself utilize. We all have extensive filing systems, where we have all the different things, a folder for the banquet, a folder for this or that. Luckily, I got a bunch of computer nerds for coaches too. They all can use the Macintosh, so everything they pump out is on the computer. And so, keep all your stuff there on a directory in that. Maintain booklets. Keep track of all of our practice plans, all of our scouting reports, all of our game plans, all the kids' grade checks. We have booklets for all those different things. So if something's needed, we can just pull out that booklet. I think one thing that's been good for me personally, this was suggested by, I don't remember who now, but is annually go through your files and your notes. Think about a lot of you guys have been going to clinics for a lot of years. Back at home somewhere, you got notes from Dennis Erickson back when he was at Idaho. And how those guys jump around. But when's the last time you looked at them? I already this morning, I got a couple great ideas from Tommy Merrill and Coach Erickson. But if I never go back and look at them, I might not use them. So I think that's a valuable tool. Go back, take a look. Develop a checklist for your preseason duties. Every year you do a lot of the same things, okay? It took time to develop this, but I said, okay, every year I sit down, I'm going to have to record the GPAs from second semester of all the kids for eligibility, etc. So now I've kind of got a checklist, all these different things that I do in the program. I go through, I can check them off. It just is a reminder, and I can save some time. Okay, these would be some other things that we're doing. Okay, in terms of Jamboree, junior highs, newspapers. We have all the things that we get sent, that we have to send back there. All the scheduling requirements. Okay. Now this talks a little bit about our practice and game preparation. Now I'm kind of flipping through a lot of these quick because I know my time's running out. But if any of you are interested in looking at any of these, again, I'll be around this weekend and some of this. Practice and game preparation. This is kind of the week. Oh, my wife was proofreading. I wonder what that is. It's kind of an unhappy face there. She was proofreading and didn't like that Saturday all-day meeting, but so anyway, that's kind of an overview of the things that we do. We meet on Saturday. Kind of cuts into going to the Husky games, but this is one of the real valuable things I think we do. We get those kids in on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. We can check for injuries. So when we do all of our game planning, practice planning, I know if Jim's ankles hurt so bad, he's probably not going to be a go next week. Okay? Also, it kind of tends to not make me want to go out and drink beer all Friday night because I got to get up early. They're going to be smelling my breath, etc. So, you know, it kind of, our kids, they go out, they go to pizza together, they have team functions at people's house. It all kind of ties into this thing. Coaches, we get there early, we break down film before the kids, then we watch film with the kids. Now, I know a lot of people will do it on Monday, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but here's what I believe is that if that kid on Friday night thinks he played good and he didn't, and you guys go to your coaches meeting over the weekend and you're plotting how you're going to undress that kid on Monday. But you know, that kid all weekend, he's been thinking, I played pretty good. And then on Monday, it's like a bombshell. You tell him that he stunk, and he's like, whoa, okay. And now he feels like crap on Monday. Starts to recover a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now it's almost game time, and he's just recovering from you getting after him. Okay, so what we do is on Saturday morning, that kid knows already if I play good or bad. So he has the weekend to get his mental focus adjusted. Okay, I played good. I need to still get better. Hey, I played like crap. I got to get my act together. And starting Monday, when I get to practice on Monday, I'm getting after it. So for us, it's made Monday practice, Tuesday practice is more effective. The kids can change their mental approach over the weekend, anything that they need to do for that following week. Then just like you guys run your practices, you know, during the week, those are some of the things that we do. Again, this would be Thursday and Friday. Thursday is a real light day for us. We go waist up. Friday, just kind of how we do our game, different times, different things that we do. And so again, if you're interested in any of that, I'll have this around. I'll give you a copy of, or show you a copy of how our game plan organization would look if you were to peek over our shoulder on game day. This is what I usually carry around. Give coaches all copies of this, where we have a depth chart at each position. I think this is very important. You're getting your butt kicked, or hopefully you're way ahead. You know, we want to make sure that everybody plays. Also, those key backups, okay, we want to make sure that we're rotating people. And something I'm going to talk about in a little bit is, you know, I believe in playing a lot of people. We rotate 30 to 35 people on game night. That means they're on a special team, they back up, they're a starter, or whatever. 30 to 35 people, that's a lot of folks. That means we've got to coach them up to get them on the field. I mean, we just don't play everybody. We try to get them to the point where they can play. Okay, so it's important that I know we've said as a coaching staff, old Bonham here at left tackle, he's going to play at least 2 series tonight. We need to get him in. We know that our running backs here, Hobson and Childs, are going to alternate series. Okay, we pre-plan all this thing as a coaching staff. Friday substitution, I delegate away to my coaches. They're in charge of substituting at their positions on game days. Again, ownership for them. Also, then we sit as a staff, we determine all that. Then this would be just kind of our offensive charting there, our plays, our defensive people. This would be the type of thing that they would operate with, where we have our coverages, our stunts, you know, all the things that we're going to be running, some of the key formations and plays that we would be going versus that night. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we're getting close to finishing up here. I'll show you a couple of different schedules that we operate with. I guess these would be things I would consider that you need to have a schedule for, that you can share with your coaches, your players, parents, etc. Testing schedule when you're testing your athletes, bench squat, because usually that's kind of a 3-ring circus. Our pre-season, all of our double days and all that, we get that out to the parents, the kids ahead of time so that they can plan whatever they need to do. We have an installation schedule. We're going to add 20 trap on Tuesday the 23rd. That we know when we're going to put in our plays, our techniques, etc. That works in conjunction with that. Our daily practice schedule, our game time schedules, and then these are our off-season schedules. So weight room supervision, football. Again, if I can get these out to coaches, typed up, neat, orderly, and on time, again, they're happier. They have a tool that they can work with. They can, so here you go, honey. This is when I have weight room supervision. I have it the first week in July and the first week in August. And then I become a hero at home for their wife, or a jerk because I'm having them do it. Okay, now practice plan. This is how we operate. We're a period group, and so we take each position. We go by 5-minute increments. We have the bullhorn. We go that way. A lot of you already know how that works, and so that's just how we operate it. Stretching, form run, agility. Then we sit down on the weekend and we actually script out what we're going to do at each position and coordinate that way. This is an example of a play script we use in conjunction with practice. It has numbers on the side right there. So offense, defense, we use this for inside run. We use this for skelly. We also use it for team so that we don't leave on Tuesday night and say, we didn't run 20 trap tonight, or we didn't get our 90s passing game in. This keeps us on task. It forces us to do it. And so that's been a good tool for us. This would be a copy of, we post this on Thursdays. Not everybody travels. We make it an honor to travel at Kent Ridge. So for sophomores and juniors, even some seniors, you want to make the travel list. It's posted at practice. All the time schedules are typed up. Any dress, geez, and you got to coordinate their dress. Now, are we wearing black socks, coach? Are we wearing white socks? White shoes, black shoes, red bandanas? Heck, I don't know. So, we just try to coordinate all that so we all look the same and we all get there the same. Okay. Now the last thing, do we get a thing? Okay, here we go. To finish it off, 2 things. I'm going to lay up some promotional ideas, some things that we do to promote our program. I'll just lay them up on the screen. What I want to show you, they're 2 minutes and 2 minutes, and then you guys can go eat, is we put together a highlight film for the kids. They picked the music, so I don't take any credit for any of the things that's going to blare out here. But they picked the music. We do clips of each game and anything we did important, and then we give them copies of that. Then a promotional idea that we did for the first time this year is we had Ladies' Night with the Chargers. And we'll show you a little bit about that. We had all the mom. The deal was every kid in the program had to bring a mom, a girlfriend, a sister, somebody, and we coached them up. And the kids did. And we went through small group, team, the whole works with the moms. They had a great time. And so that went over really well. They were excited. They got to, because moms never know what's going on, right? I mean, they don't know a lot of the things. So we had kids dressing in their equipment for them. We took them in the locker room. We took them in the weight room. We had moms in there doing bench press, the whole works. And yeah. Where's it going to finish this? Get the lights on. Is there sound on it? Actually, I think that goes right up on the overhead. Yeah, it's well, what we're having here is we're in the gym. We had each kid take their parents to their position. So right here you have the quarterbacks and their mom. And so they had to go through it. Each kid was responsible for teaching whoever they had with them what they're doing. You can see the quarterbacks teaching their mom to throw and catch here. Receivers. We had a good-looking lineup of women, pretty good size too. some of them, but you didn't hear that here either, guys. And so we had our line coach down there getting after one of our linebackers here, teaching his mom a drop, and they were real appreciative of this. And we took the time to teach them how to do some of these things. It was a great time for them and their kids to get together. And you know, mom's never been in the locker room. They've never been in the training room and all these things. So, you know, we got a lot of good feedback on that.
Coach, what time of year did you do this?
We did this about the third game. Third game, yeah. Was it homecoming week? We get a little pass rush drill here. See him coming in, tackling the coach. Okay, so now we took, like I said, we took him through the weight room, took him through the whole works. About 15 seconds here. So here we are taking them in the training room. They're looking at the bulletin board. On our bulletin board, we put all these schedules, all of our motivational slogans, etc. That's in there. So, you know, moms are kind of checking all this out. Go ahead and pop that out, Coach. Okay. Now what I'll do, just to finish it off, show you about 2 minutes of our highlight film. And we're in green here if it shows up. And just to kind of give you an idea, we're a 44 defense. We're a multiple offense. And so we give this to the kids each year. That's us in green. And try to get out all the good highlights. And so some good shots of us getting the football pretty good and some of our better plays. But again, it's you know, by doing this, it's the work for us to put it together, but it provides kind of a lifetime of memories for the kids. It's one more thing that we do for them to make them feel good about themselves. We try to get every kid on film. We try to spread it out all the different offense, defense, special teams, and so it's just been really a good tool. The one thing that this is great, my first year I did this, I think we were 1-8. You watch a highlight film, you look like you're 8-1 because you only have the good plays on it. And I tell you, you put it at the end of your banquet to some good music, and you walk out of there, hey, everything is hunky-dory because it really makes you look good because you just, like I said, you just select the good plays. Kent Ridge, Kent Meridian, and Kentwood, we share a stadium, an AstroTurf stadium, French Field, right at Kent Meridian High School, and it's pretty good. On our last levy, we should be getting some new turf, hopefully. One thing that's exciting about our district and our league is the three, Tom Ingalls at Kentwood and Bruce Rick at Kent Meridian, all three of us get along really well. And I mean, that doesn't mean that we don't want to go out and beat each other when we play, but you know, a lot of times those of you that work in multiple districts, sometimes there's a lot of hard feelings, or it's, you know, they got this, we got that, and there's a lot of conflict. When you're sharing stadiums, when you're doing things like that, there's got to be a cooperation versus when you're the only team in town. That was it, Coach. And so I'm very thankful that those two people are great people to work with. We meet with Dave Lutz and we get a lot of things worked out. The North Division of the SPSL, we got the Federal Way Schools plus Auburn, and Tom, a lot of people are here. They also are great people to work with. It's a great league, and thanks for coming, appreciate it. And if there's anything I can share with you, come on up and I'll be more than happy to talk.